Thank you, choir. How many of us here this morning grew up in the church? Okay, you can put your... How many of us did not grow up in the church? Okay. This means that we grew up. Now, I didn't grow up in the church. But once a week, once a year, I went to church. Well, sort of. Because we had Vacation Bible School. I didn't know what it was called. I knew that we had sugar cookies, Kool-Aid. We had popsicle sticks with no popsicle, but we had Elmer's glue and Crayolas that we could do stuff with. And if you think about in your era with me in that time, whether you were teaching or attending, you can envision those sugar cookies and Kool-Aid, and you can smell the glue, and you know, I mean, it'll come right back there, images in our minds, implanted in. And that was a very positive experience. I'm not sure, I don't remember what they told us, but I remember a positive experience. For a person that was fighting a battle and didn't know how to fight yet, because by the time I started school, I was taller than the rest of the children. And I was rounder than the rest of the children. It was always difficult because the other classmates that were kind of plump, they could go to Sears and get Huskies. Remember, you know? I don't know if they still have Huskies for children or not. But not for me. Because I'd go get a 40 waist with a 22 inseam. It had to be special made. I just didn't fit in the clothes that manufacturers made. But you know what was going on inside? I didn't fit in society. Has anybody ever had a time in your life that you were different than everybody else? I mean, positive is still different, or negative can be different. And I just backed up into my shell. And I became a very polite, quiet, well-mannered introvert. And I just went right through. Coy Ramsey was our principal, and he had a plastic baseball bat with the ends cut out of the bat. And so this was the old days, but that's what he would tan your hide with, he called it, if you got in trouble. And the sound of that had to be worse than the feeling of it. And I'd hear kids out in the hall getting the Coy Ramsey baseball bat. I backed up more into my shell. I was a well-mannered, average student. Stayed out of trouble. 7th grade, I met Jack Lawson. Because all through grade school, one week in the summer, I got to go to a place that a few people made me feel good about me, even if I was growing out as much as I was growing up. 7th grade, things began to change. I meet Jack Lawson. He's our PE teacher. And he's also our football coach. And he looked and he said, I like you. He said, what position would you like to play? Whatever you want me to do, sir. So we went through summer drills. He said, I want you in the backfield. Sounds good. Okay. I played 7th grade and 8th grade because we didn't have middle school, we had junior high. 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. 9th grade comes along and I'm in a new position that I'd never been in for. People like me. They liked me. Because when we went to Big Creek and Oceana and Oakville and Princeton and Bluefield and all of these other places to their junior highs, and some of them were having middle schools now, I could do pretty good. 9th grade comes. I'm going into the 9th grade at Elkhorn Junior High School. Now, in the classroom in the school building, there's a certain group of people that like me, another group that I just keep backing up. And something miraculous happens. I get to play on North Fork High School football that year, a year early. Now, I keep going back in my mind and heart in the negative experiences to sugar cookies, Kool-Aid, popsicle sticks with no popsicle, Elmer's glue, and Crayolas. Because that was a positive place. Because I'm still not positive yet. But you know, I look back now and how God was taking care of me. We call that in a Wesleyan tradition prevenient grace. But now I'm a 9th grader and I'm with the high school kids. John Brandt's our football coach. Coach Brandt, he says, I want you to be a blocking back. I didn't know what he meant. It didn't take long. You get your head knocked off so David Riley looks good. He gets the scholarship to WVU. And that was North Fork football. But it introduced me to a whole group of people that are what? Older than I am. And they introduced me to stuff that was different than I've ever experienced in my life. And it changed the people that I had sugar cookies and Kool-Aid and popsicle sticks with no popsicle and Crayolas with and Elmer's glue to remember the aroma from. They changed into a different people now, and they looked at me and they said, you're going to hell. And so the people that showed me love were now becoming my enemy, and the place where once a week, once a year was a fun place now became a place that made me feel bad. But God was always there, and there was always somebody that would come by and say, oh, don't listen to them. They would say just enough to make you feel a little better. And, you know, so by 9th grade in my life, the church was a dirty word. They were mean people. Because Sunday through Thursday, they were telling me how bad I was. But Friday and Saturday, they did the same thing I did. And I became very angry at the church. And I didn't know how to separate God from the church. Now, the scripture said, God is fighting my battles. And God was looking out for me during this time in my life because I didn't know how to take care of myself. But I was hurting inside. Because the people that had shown love were now rejecting. And all the people had picked on and been mean because I was different in grade school and in junior high school. I was odd. My clothes fit different. And the kids would come up and they'd say, you know, there's enough slack in those pants to load coal with. And those things hurt when you're a child. And I became angry inside. Has anybody here ever been hurt by other people and become angry inside besides me? And God's fighting my battle, but I didn't know it. It's prevenient grace. Prevenient grace, the grace of God. There's so many places that I could stop. It was about this time of year, Sharon and I are dating. I'm in high school, she's in college. She's actually a cheerleader at Bluefield State. We're in Charleston for the college tournament. And there was something going on that Bluefield State was over at Morris Harvey, so you date yourself. And we were going over there, but going down the boulevard, down the river in Charleston, we just left the Civic Center. There was 2 guys from another team that Bluefield State had beaten the night before. Now, you got to understand, I have a 1968 Chevrolet Impala, black with black leather interior, fastback, Krager wheels, Firestone 500 tires, 396 cubic inch, 375 horsepower with a Hurst shifter. The shifter knob said 1, 2, 3, 4 reverse, and on each side of that chrome thing it said Hurst. I was about the only one in our high school that had a car like this. It would do things that would make you cry out to God. I'm serious. It was fast. It was my pride and joy, but my hero was Clint Eastwood. And so in the console between the bucket seats was little Clint. And these two boys pulled up beside of my 68 Impala that was always clean and never had a spot on it, with two of the sticks with a chain that, do karate with, and there one waving it out the window. And he hits the quarter panel on my car, and I look in that chrome rearview mirror on my door, and there's a dent. All of the 16 and a half years of anger that was in me came out, and I reached down for little Clint, and I laid across the door of that car a .44 Magnum with an 8 3/4 inch barrel, and I said, boy, stop and make my day. I was going to kill him because he hit my car. But the reality was there was 17 and a half years of pain just about to come out. But God was on my side. God was on my side for some reason. And God was on their side too. And probably that's why God stopped me, because God loved all three of us there, and Sharon's down in the floorboard. And then they made a terrible mistake and they tried to speed away. And all I had to do to go third gear, and the glass packs kicked in. And the 375 horsepower with two 4-barrel carburetors kicked in, and then the Charleston City Police kicked in. And the lights flashing was just God. Well, that wasn't uncommon, because I met Cecil Moore growing up. He was our mayor. I met Archie Day. He was our sheriff at that time. I met Ronnie McKenzie. He was a county commissioner. And I met Judge Rick Marinsky, who was our judge in Welch. And I just knew all of them on a first-name basis because I saw them a lot. But God was on my side. And if the Lord had not been, where would I be? That pain began to just magnify. And things didn't go well. And I lay down one night to go to bed. I had little Clint on the nightstand. And I just laid there awake for hours hurting. And I said, self, because I didn't know how to talk to God. I didn't know there was one. Pain would go away if you don't wake up in the morning. And there was a voice just in my head saying, you could reach over on that nightstand and stop the pain. There's a Benadryl over on the nightstand. It'll take all of this goop out of your life. There's an ibuprofen. It'll kill the pain that's going on in your life. You can do that, and it'll just all be over. You may never been there, or maybe just not able to say that you have been there. But inside, it hurt. But God was on my side when I didn't know who God was.